In 1985, as a high school football and baseball star, Deion Sanders refused offers to turn pro after he graduated, and instead went to Florida State to play college football.
What a return by Deion Sanders!
Now in the fall of 1989, Deion's investment in college was paying huge dividends. He'd become one of America's first professional two-sport athletes.
I played two sports because I played three sports all my life. It was nothing different. I wasn't going to let America tell me, oh, you can only play one sport. I wasn't going to let people say, you could only do one thing.
He was making millions as the highest paid defensive player ever in the NFL, playing cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons. At the same time, Deion signed a deal making several $100,000 playing center field for the New York Yankees.
It was truly remarkable and admirable that he was able to be as good a baseball player as he was.
It was a great moment in my life to think that this world is set up where anybody could be successful.
With the money from his first Atlanta Falcons football paycheck, Deion made good on a high school promise to his mother. He bought her a house on the rich side of town.
It was exciting. All I could do was cry.
Then, Deion tried to help his father, Daddy Buck, pick up the pieces of his life.
I was making sure he was taken care of, nice clothes on his back, money in his pocket, bank account.
You know, no one wants their father on drugs, you know, so he wanted him clean.
Although not rapping professionally, Deion had recently grown friendly with another flamboyant entertainer, rapper MC Hammer. At Deion's request, Hammer agreed to hire Deion's father to work on his road crew.
All I wanted was an environment for him that kept him busy, that kept him happy.
Deion also started a family of his own. In 1990, after 2 years together, Deion's college sweetheart Carolyn gave birth to Deion's daughter, Deandra. Despite the demands of his two-sport schedule, Deion always found a way for the new family to be together.
We did everything together. We had never been apart. Even when Deandra was born, 2 days later, he told the doctor she had to come here. So Deandra was 2 days old, and we had to fly to New York when he was playing with the Yankees.
Deion took his primetime character with him to New York as well. And while Carol and Deandra were warmly received, Deion's alter ego was not.
You know, we had an older veteran club, and they weren't very receptive to a young guy like Deion coming in with his gold.
It didn't take long before primetime was getting Deion into trouble. During a Yankees-White Sox game in New York, primetime walked up to the plate, cleared an area in the batter's box, and drew an S with 2 lines in it, a dollar sign in the dirt. Hall of Fame catcher Carlton Fisk was outraged at Deion's crass commercialism and decided to draw a line of his own.
What's going on here? There's a little conversation between Carlton and Sanders. He turned the bat around and made the dollar sign mark. Well, you know, that would upset people, obviously.
And here comes the bullpen. I have no idea what started that thing off.
After the incident, Deion played out his contract with the Yankees. Then in 1991, he left the club, signing a deal to play in a temporary game-to-game basis with the Atlanta Braves. Now, he was in Atlanta year-round, playing football for the Falcons and baseball for the Braves. 2 professional sports in the same city and the same stadium.
I got one thing to say, this is my house.
Deion's mix of athletic achievement and primetime personality paid dividends.
I ain't getting that. He can get his own ball. Don't you got a football game to go to?
Besides his contracts with the Braves and Falcons, he began raking in millions from endorsement deals with companies like Nike.
Ho, ho, ho. I remember at one point, I would think I was on 5 commercials at a time.
Beep, beep.
It was lovely. It really was.
Prime time.
Life was wonderful. Life was great. Life was financially fantastic.
The more Deion was on display, the better he performed. By 1992, he led the league in interceptions, made the Pro Bowl, and was leading the Atlanta Falcons into the NFL playoffs.
He was incredible, and they didn't throw in his direction. You know, he might have led the league in interceptions, but they didn't throw it over there. that often because they were afraid of it.
That same summer, he batted over 300 and led the National League in triples, sparking the Atlanta Braves to the National League playoffs. It appeared as if Deion could do no wrong.
What time is it? Showtime, prime time. Okay.
Deion starting that dance.
I think he relished the attention. And in a way, like so many athletes who relish attention, it began to fuel him, in a sense. And you develop either a rooting interest for him or against him.
He liked the media attention, and he learned how to play on it, to use it to better himself. Sometimes it backfired because sometimes he looked very bad.
Deion, one little comment, we'll all leave. I don't want to make a comment.
He polarizes people because he, for much of his career, has acted in a way that sane people find annoying.
Deion's act was wearing thin with sports journalists, when in the fall of 1992, his baseball and football careers collided. It was the National League Championship Series, and Deion was attempting to make sports history by playing professional baseball and football games on the same day.
There have been reports that Deion is considering going to Miami this weekend with the Atlanta Falcons to play against the Dolphins and then chartering a plane to fly up to Pittsburgh in time for Game 5 on Sunday.
What he did was incredible. To be able to play two sports, period, at that high a level. To be a great, great football player and a pretty darn good baseball player simultaneously is tremendous.
Deion played a Sunday afternoon football game in Miami for the Falcons, then flew to Pittsburgh and played a Sunday night baseball game for the Braves. Renowned television baseball analyst Tim McCarver got Deion's attention when he shared his thoughts on Primetime's two-sport schedule on national TV.
I think Deion's doing a rather self-centered thing, Tim.
Absolutely.
Going there tomorrow.
There's been a lot of talk that he's a consummate team player for the Atlanta Braves. Well, and if he's that, how can he leave in the playoffs?
After McCarver's statement, the battle lines were drawn.
I think McCarver was out of line because it was clearly a personal attack. To me, that was a vindictive attack and tried to put it on the auspices of talking about what's good for the team because you don't know. You ain't on the team.
McCarver's criticism of Sanders, even if people disagree with it, is well within the range of what happens in a broadcast.
He didn't even know what he was talking about, and it was so crazy that he would talk how selfish my act was, and it should have been applauded because I wasn't even on the contract with the Braves at the time, and I was just coming over to help them. Who should have been upset was the Falcons.
When the Braves won the National League Championship a few days later, Deion got his revenge. As Tim McCarver conducted interviews in the Braves locker room, Deion made his own commentary, unloading a bucket of ice water on McCarver's head 3 different times.
You are a real man, Deion, I'll say that.
He needed to be cooled off a little bit. He needed to simmer down.
Sanders acted like a punk in that instance. And I thought that McCarver did well to restrain himself.
Deion was wrong when he did that. It's real simple. And it was just a very immature thing for him to do.
Deion should not have poured that water on him.
You are a real man, Deion, I'll say that.
After dousing McCarver with water, Deion cooled off with a cold shower of his own.
I put a chair in the shower, and I sat down and just let the water, and I was crying my heart out, just thinking that the criticism I took for doing the right thing because of one man's ego blew me away.
Deion's troubles were just beginning. Members of the media closed ranks around McCarver and took dead aim at primetime.
Dan, you talk a second?
No, I ain't playing nothing. I want y'all to talk to the guys who won the game.
The press, who often found it difficult to get and keep interviews with Deion, now had a reason to lash back.